Which folks, welcome to Oak Swamp and part 10 of the Austin Crosley, a single seater. Massive thanks to everyone who went to my shop and got himself a t-shirt last time. Cheers guys. And also everyone who left me a like and a comment also. Thanks a lot. Okay, so back on with Lush Root. This week my main objective is to get the brake system into place. Now the Austin Big 7 had cable brakes at the front and a single rod to the back, so I'm going to keep it in that configuration. This is what happened. Okay, going through my box of brakes bits and bobs. This is all cable brake stuff, what I've been gathering, and there's bits and pieces of everything, but I think I've come up with the idea. What I'm going to do is base it around this bit of CDS. This is a drag link off a Land Rover. These ends, these come off a 29 Citroen off of Lafrog. Got two of those. Now the thing with these got cable attachments on, so I can use them for the front. Brake pedal is off the Austin Big 7. Just found a bit of round bar that fits in there, so that's pretty good. So that's an idea. So both of these bits fit this just nice and tight on there. And then what I'll do, I'm going to run another piece up inside. I'll grind a piece out so a bolt goes through that and holds that in place there. This piece is, again, this will fit here. Bit off the Citroen again. This is the bit off the clutch. And I used a bit of this, the other end of this, on the wrap. What else have I got? Brake pedal to go in there. Okay, now I've got to put all of this into practice. My first thought is to put the pedal, and that gives you that much movement, because it'll probably sit about there. I'll shorten this down to about there, but there's the first bit of movement. The way this connects to the front, you've got quite a short bit of movement there. As you pull that towards you, that pulls the brakes on, and then you've got a little nipple here which I'm going to have to sweat onto a bit of wire. The way those fronts work, they need to be pulled towards me. So that means wherever this goes, it needs to go backwards. I did consider using this directly onto the shaft, but what that would do, that will send that forward, so that's no good. So what we have to do is come off of here onto another shaft that looks something like that, one at either end, look. And then I'm figuring put this in the middle. As the brake comes down, it rolls that round. Now what I think is going to have to happen is, I think this needs to be shortened so it moves a lot of distance through not a lot of distance, if you know what I mean. So you're always pushing against it. Alright, so I think that's about where it's going to go. Do for the minute, I've got these big washers. Get the old swirled and then just tack those washers up, because they're never going to wear out. Shaft runs right the way through. These will be clamped on, and then that piece here is going to be the activator. Now I'm just looking at it. And what I'm going to do, I think, is take it from about here. So I think what I've got to do now is shorten that piece down. Right, I think to keep the strength in there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it across at an angle like that, and then cut this across at an angle like that, and then sit this up against it and weld it so it's always pushing against this piece. And you go sound like that. Lovely, lovely. They're rolly for a minute. Just as a temporary measure, I'm going to bang a hole in this. Right, there you go. Now I'm thinking if I shorten this, this will come right the way down to there, so I might shorten this because it's a bit tall anyway. But I think the braking is all going to be over by about there, because these are quite long and they're quite short, so this is going to be moving a lot of distance, and that's not. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tack that to this, and then we can see exactly how much it moves. I think a good inch of movement up there is going to be quite savage, so I think we're somewhere near there. The thing is with this, you've got to keep these so you can take them off, because you can't get the pole out otherwise it'll be stuck in there forever. Okay, I've got to shorten the shifter. I'm going to cut that one off there and that one off there. I'll do with this, I'll just tack it up for the minute and then I'll run a piece right the way up here, a bit of 4mm inside there, both sides to make this solid, and then that'll give plenty of meat onto this as well. But for the moment, for setting up, I'm just going to tack him in there. Tuck this fella down as well. Best part of 2 inches of travel. It's going to be like that. Yeah. Before I go in tonight, I want to just check this out. Alright, there's no vibrations. Gotta go in and get some tea. It's the boy's birthday today, he's 16. And I've got a rehearsal tonight. I've got to do a gig with my mate Jimmy, and Jim's also playing on it. Right, Whitey. Right, miss. Next job. Now these are lovely, nice tight fit on here, but to secure them, it takes a bolt, and the bolt has to cut across. What I'm going to do is mark this up and then get the die grinder and then put it across there. I've got to give this pedal a bit of a straighten. Right, at this line here I'm going to fold this over, so it just 90s down there, put a score down there, and I beat it over, it'll be in exactly the right place. I think I need to line out by putting a couple of holes into there. By chance, this is just right to take a 10mm thread, and I can use this to keep the brake pedal on by having a thread up it. What I did with that is put a little sleeve on so this sits down and then the bolt holds it in. That's as far as I'm going to get for that for the minute. Now I've got to do the back brakes. I just lifted this axle over. So this is the original big 7 axle. It's pretty straightforward. It's just got this right angle. You pull towards the front and it pushes at either end. Simples. So I'm hoping I can put this somewhere and then run one down to the front. But what I've got to do first is take all these drums apart. Just pull back out of the sun a bit because it is absolutely baking out there. I think we got a heat wave coming next week, which is kind of nice. Talking of next week, Sass and all the kids go off to Glastonbury, and I'm being left here on my own, which I'm going to enjoy. And then on Wednesday, Casper, my pal from France, is flying in, and we're going to be doing some stuff next week. Ooh. It's going to be a pain in the ass to take all that off. I don't want to do that. So I've got some other backing plates. And as long as they're the same, I just need to take all this nonsense off. Absolute scorcher again today. Yeah, okay. I spent a bit of time yesterday figuring out what I'm going to do with this back. Now, this is the piece that was sat on the back of the axle, and it sits that way on. And if I mount this directly in the centre of the axle here, so that one goes into there, and then the other one will go off to that brake. Now, this is going to be lower, and these bits of chassis aren't going to be here. Then a rod will come from the brake arm there all the way down here. I just have to cut a hole into this for it to go through, but I think that's going to work. This is a bracket I made earlier, which I was using for the bottom support on that diff, and I'm just going to straighten it out and reuse it. Right, that's just clamped on there because it fits either side of the I-beam. Thereabouts. So that comes from there to there. This pulls that way, roll right down under the seat, and then down to here. So I'll put a piece that comes off here which pulls on the clevis that way, which pulls that down and go into the back wheels. It's all under where I'm seating, and there's enough room for suspension travel. Now if I want to put a handbrake on, which would predominantly go there, I'll just run a rod straight down to this point. So this is the original back plate, and this piece inside like that. Now when it's mounted in the car, it sits like that. But obviously that can't happen here because our springs are mounted there. To get this to be at the front, that's where it should be, I need to move it to there. And then that puts that at about 4 o'clock. It will work, but the holes are going to be pretty much dead central of these. I'll grind them off, whip these off, get the hole in place, and this needs to be flush. Then move this round, just weld it on a little bit further round so it keeps the shoes in place. And then that brings it out directly to here. Run away from that boy. Into a pretty darn good, so I'm going to bolt them together and then drill these lot. Okay, so I've moved them round, and now Mickey Mouse has come to stay, but now I drill these 4 out here, and that's the same both sides. Got a little bit to nip out here because where this is humps up here, it's just hitting on the bracket that's holding the leaf spring, so I've just got to cut that little bit of lumpage out there. It's on there now. It does indeed come out from there. Good, back on its wheels, and this is all kind of ready for action either side. So I'm going to pop down to the chandlery and pick up some cable. I've got to get some round bar, and I've got to figure out this lever for this end. Right, so what I'm going to move on to is this gearbox. It shifts in all the gears, so you got first there, second, third, and then reverse over there. I'm not going to go in it, but if you look at this, what it's doing is it's twisting, and it's obviously worn in here. Now to get this off, it's got a blind bolt in there, and I don't really fancy opening it up, to be honest with you. Now obviously I need to remote this gear shifter anyway, and I'm thinking if I put the shifter here with a straight run, it will no longer be able to twist like that, and hopefully it will select the gears a lot better, because they do select alright, but what it tends to do where this twists, it puts it in 2 gears at once. So I'm going to make a remote shifter that comes off the back of this axle here. Okay, for the shifter at this end I've got this, looks like it was an old track rod end. for something. That's got to sit into there. So the first thing I've got to do is mount this. Okay, here's the first bracket. So we'll be losing that. This will fold up, then this piece will fold down to here. There it is in, and that sits in there all right. I'm obviously going to clean this up a lot more, make it look all alley. I've got to put that piece just there, and I'm going to fold that piece down now as well. I've got to find a nut for that. That's going to be interesting. What I'm considering also doing is put a couple of switches maybe. I think I might put them down the side there, put a switch there. And push switch there. It's only going to have ignition on and start, and that'll be it. There you go. Nice and easy. So I'm going to keep it probably this sort of height if I can get away with it. Trim, 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 trim. Yeah, baby. With the threaded tube, these just kept twisting, so I'm going to use a bit of square tube and just weld it to it so it keeps dead on. If you remember, I said this was twisting. By making it rigid, it stops it from twisting, and you can select the gears, but it also makes it feel very stiff. And plus, it looks dreadfully fat coming down there. So I think what I'm going to have to do is bite the bullet and try and get this thing apart. But all of this idea works just lovely. What I really need is a new one of them. But the chances of getting one of them in England are pretty second to none. Friday. Baking still. Okay, so to get the ride height finished on this, I'm going to have to whip down to the tyre fitters. And I'm having slightly taller tyres put on. So let's go down there. Hello, mate.
Hello, Brian.
So here's the old wheel, and it's a 4x18, and we're going up to a whopping 4.5x18. You're going on holiday this afternoon, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where are you going, mate? New Forest?
Yeah, New Forest.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Lovely.
Can we stuff it with newspaper? That's what my old man used to do with their push bikes during the war. Poor old Ian has to put up with all this old crap tyres I bring him. Because our inner tube is destroyed, what we're doing is robbing one out of this 16-inch tyre, hopefully. On an easy clean, this is a Morris wheel. When you've got a wire wheel, to check if it's any good and the spokes are indeed tightened properly, when you tap it on the floor it should ring like a bell. Listen. Jesus, man. Yeah, that doesn't ring like a bell at all, Ian. Luckily enough, we got Funza tyres, and they're made in Uruguay. And I would say these were probably made some years ago. And that's how it's done. It's an awkward bugger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I quite like, look at that tyre. Yeah, let's see how they go against the front tyres. Tiny bit higher.
Yeah.
Ian reckons he can blag that tube, which is good. when I get this other wheel on, I'm going to get Ian to get in there, because Ian weighs a bit more than me. Problem is I tend to build cars with me in mind, and I don't weigh anything, so that's the difference in the tyres. Not a great deal on it, ½ inch, but they look grand here. Yeah, she blows. That was a workout most, wasn't it? Okay, so this is the ride height as it is. Man, Ian, how heavy are you?
15.5 stone.
15.5? There you go. Now if you look at the ride height, there's a 15.5 stone bloke in it, and we've got exactly where we want to be. Well, there you go, there's the ride height sorted. Right, I'm getting indoors, some friends of ours come over, and he picked my banjo up, so I'm going to show you what he's doing. You want a guitar?
Yeah, get him a guitar.
Do you want a guitar?
I travel light and at night I'm quiet and I'm still, and everywhere that I ramble, well, I got there by myself.
Okay, well that's where I'm going to leave it this week, lads, I'm afraid. For next time I think I'm going to order myself the sprockets I need to get in this chain drive done. It's high time I did, and I'm really excited about doing it. I'm also going to get the parts needed to finish off this braking system. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave me a like and a comment. And if you're not subscribed at this point, make sure you hit the old subscribe button too. Now if you want to help me out and support the channel, please go over and get yourself a lovely Oak Swamp t-shirt from my shop. Anyway, massive thanks to Jim for all the cool tunes, and thank you for watching. I'll catch you dudes next time. Hang loose.
I play some songs for the locals, put on a little show. They ask me why I left my home, I tell them I don't know. I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf, baby. I'm a lone wolf, I go alone.
So I'm going to play along with Jim. This is a tune I've been practicing relentlessly for months. Ready, Jim?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. It made my lips hurt. What a fucking horrible instrument that is.